Hi everyone, Animal Girl here, back with another edition of Book Talk. And this week's this Book Talk video is on Pegasus, Book 3, The New Olympians. A horse named Tornado Warning is winning every race he enters, in shockingly fast times. Emily can't help but think that Tornado Warning looks a lot like Pegasus. But how is that possible? Emily, Joe, Palin, Pegasus, and the Sphinx Alex decide to investigate. The group discovers a sinister CRU plot to replicate Olympians and Nirads. The CRU has already created dozens of clones. Now, they want to create their own Emily clone. And it doesn't matter to them if the original dies in the process. Can Emily and her friends put a stop to the CRU's plan before Jupiter finds out and follows through with his threat to destroy Earth? Okay, highlights of the book. This book was written by Kate O'Haron, much like the other two Pegasus books, as this is her series. And it is 38 chapters long, though some of them are short chapters and some are long chapters. This is the third book in the series, with two more following right behind it. The Origins of Olympus and one other, but the title escapes me. But the first two being Pegasus and the Flame of Olympus, and Pegasus and Olympus at War. Now, this book revolves around Pegasus, Emily, and their friends as they investigate a mysterious horse that looks an awful lot like Pegasus, as the description implies. They also meet up with their old friends, Earl and Agent T, who is now known in this story as Tom, and make a new friend on Earth as well. Okay, things I liked about this book. First off, I really liked the plot line. Now, this is a young adult book. As I stated before, I am really not all that picky, or in previous Book Talk books, I'm really not all that picky about the books I read. I will read young adult books, I will read teen books, I will read adult books. The only books I really don't read are below young adult books, really drippy romance books, like smutty romance books basically, hardcore horror books, and really boring political books. Anything else is wide open. I love mysteries, I love adventure, I love fantasy. I'm really open to any type of genre as long as it's not like drippy romance, boring politics, or really scary horror. Not that those books aren't bad, they're just not my cup of tea. And I'll really read within any age group. Like I said, I just won't dip below young adult. Anything below young adult I really won't read unless I'm reading to like my little cousins, which I don't do very often, but if that comes up, that's like the only time I'd read below young adult books. So young adult's really the lowest I go, and that's what this falls into. You can actually find them in the children's section. But they're chapter books, so they aren't exactly children's books. They're just, I classify them as young adults. They're not quite teen, but they're not quite children. But anyways, so I liked the plot line. I like how it revolves around Emily and Joel, of course, who seem to be the two main human characters in the story. Pegasus, since the series is called Pegasus. Paladin, who is one of the gods of Olympus. Again, if I'm mispronouncing his name, I apologize for that. And now Pegasus' brother Cloister, the winged boar, is joining them on adventures as well. This is actually the second one that he joins them on. And then we have some of the other more iconic gods that are in the stories. We have Jupiter, Neptune, Athena. And you'll notice that these are all the Roman gods, but keep in mind, for those of you who are more partial to the Greek gods than the Roman gods and the Greek god were actually the same deities. They just had different names. Jupiter is Zeus, Neptune is Poseidon, Athena is Minerva, Cupid is Eros, so on and so forth. Basically, the Romans just took the Greek mythology, assimilated it into their culture, and changed the names of the gods to more Latin names than Greek names. It's basically what happens. They're the same people, so if I mess up and I call a character in this story who's one of the gods by their Greek name, I apologize, but it is basically the same person. And that gets into another thing I liked about this book. I loved the characters. A good chunk of these characters are iconic characters. We all know Pegasus. We all know Jupiter / Zeus. We all know Poseidon / Neptune. Athena / Minerva. The Sphinx is iconic, not just in Greek mythology, but in Egypt. There is the Great Sphinx at Giza, which is one of the 7 wonders of the world. So she's very well known as well. Sphinx, for those of you who didn't know, is actually a Greek word. It actually means strangler, and that's the name that the Greek explorers gave to the massive statue at Giza when they first encountered it. So there's a lot of iconic characters that we've grown up hearing stories and myths, and watching TV shows about, and learning about in school. There's some we haven't learned all that much about, like Paladin, the little thief of the gods. Cloister, I really didn't know about him until I started reading this book series. I'm not saying that he's not part of Greek mythology. Same thing with Paladin. They probably are. I'm very sure the author did a lot of research on the Greek and Roman mythology before she started writing these books, so she was getting the Greek and Roman mythology, particularly the Roman mythology characters, right. So I do like that. And then we've got like the more down-to-earth, relatable characters, which are Emily, Joel, Emily's father, which are from our world. And then we also have Earl thrown in there. Agent Tom, who, as I stated before, is now, or Agent T, who, as I stated before, is now known as Strictly Tom. We've got several other characters that are from Earth that are relatable for us, being from Earth and not being from Olympus. So we've got a nice mixed bag of characters here. And we're also seeing the Olympian characters, kind of how the myths describe them, but also kind of how they don't describe them. We're seeing them as more human-like. They do make mistakes, and they do admit that they make mistakes. The myths tend to make them more larger than life, which is what you'd expect from a myth, because these people, these creatures, were seen as deities to the Greeks and the Romans and everyone else who heard the stories and the myths about them. So they would consider them to be larger than life characters. Moving on, also with the characters, we're introduced to 3 new characters in this book, which more than likely will follow through to the next book. We are introduced to the last of the big 3, the brothers of Olympus, the 3 most powerful gods in Olympus, and that is Pluto, also known in the Greek mythology as Hades. And for those of you who are not up on your Greek or Roman mythology, Pluto / Hades was the god of the underworld. It was basically his job to oversee the underworld and look after the souls that were in the underworld. For the souls that led a very good life and were good people, he had to make sure that they had an afterlife of pleasantries and basically a wonderful afterlife in the Elysian Fields. That's Greek. I don't know what it was called in Roman mythology, so at this point I'm going more off Greek. In the Elysian Fields, which was paradise in the afterlife. It was basically the Greek version of heaven. You lived a wonderful life. You were in this beautiful field. You were with the ones you loved and have lost. And you could just live forever in bliss and happiness. Now, for those who were not good people in life, who were actually very bad people, very wicked people, Hades/Pluto oversaw their basically miserable afterlife in Tartarus, where they were, for lack of a better word, subject to not a very pleasant existence. Some were tortured, some were very badly abused, and it was not a very nice existence, basically. You did not, when you died, want to go to Tartarus. You wanted to go to the Elysian Field, basically, because Tartarus was everything the Elysian Fields was not. The Elysian Fields was beautiful and paradise, and Tartarus was frightening and not a pleasant experience. And Pluto/Hades oversaw all that. That was his role in the Greek, or the Olympian hierarchy. Poseidon/Neptune controlled the oceans and the waterways. Zeus ruled over all of the Olympians and controlled the thunderbolts in the heavens, and Pluto controlled the underworld. Those were the three big pillarers, and the three brothers, because these were all brothers, each controlled one of them. Okay, we're also introduced to the Sphinx Alexis, and in Pegasus, in this series, the author basically describes her as how you would see a sphinx. And this is basically how sphinxes do look. Lion body, human face, eagle wings. Now, I know a lot of us, when we hear the word sphinx, we automatically think of the Great Sphinx at Giza. So we probably, in our minds, when we're thinking about a sphinx, put a lot of Egyptian features into the human face as well. Egyptian face makeup, more of the Egyptian facial structure, the Egyptian hairstyle, the Egyptian headdress, and whatnot. I do not think that's how the Sphinx Alexis is portrayed in this story. I think they do more of a Roman look to her, but she is put in here. I did like that they put the Sphinx in here. The Sphinx is one of my favorite mythical creatures, and a lot of us don't realize that the Sphinx is not solely Egyptian. It existed in other cultures. It existed in the Greek culture. It existed in the Roman culture. Basically, a lot of the cultures around the Mediterranean area is where the Sphinx existed. So I like that the Sphinx was put in here. Lastly, we are introduced to Frankie, who is a young orphan living on the streets of Las Vegas. Yes, we are not in New York in this book. We travel to Las Vegas. Actually, we travel to New York, then we go to Florida, then we go to Las Vegas. So we're basically all over the United States in this book. But Frankie is someone they meet in Las Vegas, and he becomes a very good friend to Joel and Palatine and Cloister. He does not meet Emily, Alexis, or Pegasus until later on in the book. And he doesn't really come in until later on in the book, the latter half of the book. But he does come in, and I have a feeling in the next couple of books we will be seeing him again. Okay. Now, here's a list of the next books up for review in Book Talk. We have Wandering Star, which will be my next Zodiac Book Talk video. That one, I am like over halfway through that book. So that'll be probably the next book talk video I do a review on. More than likely before Thanksgiving, hopefully. Definitely before Christmas. It'll be up before Christmas, most definitely. At the rate I'm reading it at work, probably before Thanksgiving, but just to be safe, I'm going to say most likely Christmas. Then we have E. Esther Bunny, or Bunmun, and the Warrior Eggs at the Earth's Core, which would be the next Guardians of Childhood book talk video, once I get that on my Kindle. Pegasus book 4 and the Origins of Olympus, which will be the next Pegasus book talk video. I actually plan to start reading that tonight. Magic Strikes, which will be the next Kate Daniel book talk video. The Enchantress Returns, which will be the next Land of Stories book talk video, but that one I'm only like 4 chapters into it, so that one's going to take a while. And Star Wars A New Dawn, which will be the next Star Wars book talk video. I am 2/3 of the way through that book, so hopefully relatively soon on that one too. That one, it's going to be a toss-up between that one and Wandering Star, which one's going to be first, which one's going to be next. I might finish them both at the same time and have them both uploaded roughly within the same time frame. Feel free to leave your comments and questions in the comment section. I do love to read those. And please like and share this video if you're watching it on Facebook, or like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And feel free to follow me on Wattpad, Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter, and DeviantArt. I do have my name for those 5 sites right there on the screen, as well as the pictures I use for the icons. Please note, all pictures seen within this video belong to their respected artists. I own absolutely nothing. Okay, feel free to check out my related videos. Okay, quick reminder on my comment rules. My other book talk videos. Okay, feel free to check out my other book talk videos. And my other videos. Okay, now this is strictly for my YouTube subscribers, but please note that there will be a dual posting for TV Talk. It will be posted both to my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. For any backlogged videos on TV Talk that are not on YouTube, you can feel free to check them out on my Facebook page. I will have the link in the description section. And here's a list of the shows that, all the TV Talk shows that TV shows I have done TV Talk videos on, or I'm currently doing TV Talk videos on. Okay, as always, thank you for watching, and have a very nice day.